I hesitate to even make this video because honestly I'm terrified. But I saw a video from the TikToker Audacitii. Sorry, she has stitches turned off, but I'll link the video. So she was talking about an entity following her from dream to dream and asking if anyone had had a similar experience. And it wasn't an entity following me from dream to dream. It was an entity that followed me in my life for like 10 plus years and also was in my dreams and my husband's dreams. We weren't married at the time, but we had been together a long time. The way that it would appear to me was a black cloaked figure. And it started when I was 15. I'm sorry, it literally makes me nauseous. It was so terrifying. It's going to sound crazy. It's going to sound stupid. But it was the most terrifying time in my life. And anyway, it started, I was in bed one night. And I woke up to the morning, like the noises of birds and everything. It wasn't, sun couldn't really get in the room because the curtains were drawn, but it was like, you know, I just knew it was daylight. I could see a little bit of daylight because I had a back door in my bedroom. My bedroom was an addition to the house. And so I could tell it was daylight. I could hear the birds. I could see like that the sky was not black anymore. And I was lying there awake, deciding like, do I want to get up? Do I want to go wake up my mom? Do I want to wake up my sisters? Do I want to just stay in bed? And I saw someone standing by the back door in my bedroom. And my first thought was that there was an intruder. Someone had broken in and I was terrified. My little sister and I shared a room still. We were hella poor. So I was lying there panicking, thinking like, oh my God, what do I do? And I tried to pretend to still be asleep, but I could tell that the person, I thought person at the time, knew that I was awake, and it began to approach me. As it approached me, I could no longer speak or move. I could breathe, but barely. I wasn't being choked. It's just no sound would come out. I was trying so hard to force out a scream, and nothing was coming out. And suddenly my arms were thrown up above my head, and it had my wrists in one very long, clawed, scraggly hand. And it got very close to my face. And a lot of people will think, sleep paralysis. I've had sleep paralysis. I promise you it was not the same thing. I was fully awake. I had been awake for several minutes at this time, and I know I was not asleep. And it got very close to me, and I couldn't see its face, but I knew it was giving this menacing smile. Like I could feel it. I'm very good at feeling energy, and it had this like taunting, smiling energy. Like, I've got you. I saw you. And this went on for what felt like forever. I don't know exactly how long it was. Nobody was awake when it stopped, so it couldn't have been too terribly long. I, at 15 years old and a strained relationship with my mother, got up and ran to her bed. That's how scared I was. And I've seen things my whole life. I can see people that have passed. I had sleep paralysis. I've had dreams where I've interacted with spirits and entities, and this was the scariest thing that's ever happened to me. And that entity followed me everywhere I went for the next 10 plus years. It would close doors. It would open doors. It would be in my dreams. It would say, here, I have this for you. And I would reach my hand out, but I would wake up catching myself reaching my hand out in real life. And it would be there laughing, trying to hand me something, and I would jerk my hand back. And for years, and even sometimes still, I could not sleep with my hands out from under the covers or out from under my pillow. My hands cannot be exposed while I'm sleeping. And it would taunt my husband, my boyfriend at the time. He would wake up to dreams where this figure, like I described, had approached him and said, she's mine now. There's nothing you can do. And we had a dog that would bark at the corner where I always saw this thing form, kind of like a spirally cloud. And then it would form from the cloud. And the dog would bark at the corner any time of day or night. And the dog would not let me be in the bedroom alone, because at first it was just mainly in our bedroom. And then my boyfriend and I got our own apartment, and it was there all the time, like to the point that I was missing work because I could not sleep. I would stay up all night because it would be in my closet. It would come towards me. It would reach out to me with those long fingers and claws. And this went on for so long until a friend taught me how to protect myself. And a whole bunch of shit went down. I can make a video about that if anybody cares. But eventually it stopped after like the whole big shebang. And there are still times now where I'll be alone and I'll be feeling particularly down, and I'll feel that energy again. And it's so familiar and it's so terrifying. And I have to push it away. I have to immediately raise my vibration somehow. I haven't talked about it since, except for once I was telling some family members, and after that I could not sleep in my bedroom for like a week. We had to cleanse and everything got weird. So I'm gonna have to cleanse after telling this story. But yeah, dreams, not dreams. I would get dropped off at work when it was still dark outside and the lights would be off. I would have to get buzzed in to the building. So it was like a lot of secure locks, and I would go into the dark foyer and I would hear it say, "I can get to you here too," or "I can touch you here too." And it would follow me down the hallway, like someone breathing on your neck right behind you, chasing you. And I would run into the room and they'd be like, "Why are you running? You're excited to be here. You're stoked to work." And I was like, "I just don't like the dark up there." And it became kind of like this joke that I was afraid of the dark, but I'm not. I just knew it was chasing me and I had to be around someone else. So, kind of the same thing. It followed me from dream to dream and also in reality. So, yeah, anyway, that's the gist of it. So, Audacity, you're not alone. And I feel you about not wanting to talk about it because things start happening.
Tell me a ghost story that sounds completely unbelievable but is entirely true. I'll go first.
Okay, finish getting ready with me while I tell this one. I had said a while back that I would come back and tell you this one, and I just keep forgetting to do it. So it's a rainy fall Sunday, so what a better day than today to do this. So my scariest ghost story is this one. I grew up in a house that is, was, but I know people that live there now and claim still is haunted. When I was a kid, probably about, I remember it, and my brother was still around, so I was about 4 or 5 at this point. We had been at my grandparents' house, and this is gonna get messy. And, you know, when you're a kid, you know, it was at night, and I just had this big burst of energy, okay? Like, I was just running, you know, and my parents, of course, were like, you know, let her burn it off, screw it, you know, she's gonna go to sleep great tonight, you know. So I was running, and then it was time to go home. Still was like just wound for sound. I don't know why, you know, kids just get those bursts of energy. And the way our old house was set up, you'd walk in, and it was, one second, I should have done this off camera. So you walk in, and it was the kitchen, go this way, hallway, and then like the bedrooms were here, the living room. So it was like a square. So you could run around, and it was a square. And I was still kind of running around, burning off energy. And my parents were like, whatever, let her, you know, do her thing. So I was running a couple laps. And I remember at one point, so when you come to the end of the hallway, my brother's room was here and mine was here. And then you would like walk through my room to get to my parents' room. I have lipstick everywhere. But anyway, I remember when I was running at one point in the corner of my eye, I saw something standing in my doorway, and I was just like, what the hell is that? You know, as a kid, you don't really pay attention. So I remember coming back, and I stop about halfway down the hallway, and I have just a normal sized door. So just imagine a regular sized door, so probably about 6 feet, if, you know, whatever. And I stopped, frozen. There was a man standing in my doorway. To this day, I can still perfectly see what he looked like. I can perfectly remember how scared I was. I was frozen with fear. This man, he filled the whole doorway. And he was bluish green, which at the time I was a kid, I didn't realize that means death. But, you know. And he had like these striped pants on and like a corduroy kind of jacket and a top, like a whitish top underneath. Like, it was really weird because I remember me being a kid, he had these really big shoes, and it wasn't clown shoes, but like because he was striped pants and stuff, I kind of equated it to like a circus clown. That wasn't what he looked like, but as a kid, your mind just goes there, you know. And he was just smiling, like he had these dead kind of like looking eyes, and he was just grinning, this like grayish white kind of slimy looking grin. I can still perfectly see him in my mind to this day. And he wasn't moving. I wasn't moving. He was just standing there in my doorway, staring at me, smiling, not blinking, not anything. And I finally came to, and I freaked out. And I ran into the living room where my parents were, and I jumped into my mom's arms. Like, I was like breaking down, freaking out, like crying. Oh my God, Mom, there's a man in my door. Yada, 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 you know, like freaking out, like I would not go. And she's like, Courtney, there's nobody here. And I was like, no, like I just wouldn't calm down at all. I was freaking the hell out. And so my mom was like, fine, I'm going to go prove to you. Let's go. And I was like, no, don't go. Like, don't go, you know. Well, she gets up and she sits me down in the chair and she walks out there. And she just kind of looks at me when she comes back like, Courtney, really? And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, it's your teddy bear. My teddy bear. She claims to this day, she claims she did not see a man. She claims that she walked back there and this teddy bear, which I think she still has it at her house. I ain't bringing it to my house. But she still has it. She claims that when she walked back there, it was sitting in my doorway. Just sitting there, like kind of off the side, like I had dropped it. And she's like, you're freaking out over a teddy bear. Like, pick your toys up, come on, kind of attitude. And I was like, no. Like, I was pleading with her, like, you got to believe me. You know, I don't act like this. I never did, you know. So, yeah, that happened. So to get me to calm down, because I just was not calming down. For some reason, she went and she took a trash bag and she wrapped this bear up in a bag and she hid it. She told me she hid it. She put it in the top of her closet because I eventually found it. But she hid it from me so I would calm the fuck down and eventually go to bed. Because she thought I was just playing games. She's like, you're seeing things. My mom's also one of those people that it's not that she doesn't not believe, but it kind of scares her, so she just doesn't want to think about it. But in that moment, she was like, well, I didn't see it. You know, it's kind of weird you're acting like that, but whatever, you know. But I swear to you, to this day, I can perfectly see this man, and I don't know. I've never seen him again. But it literally, when I say he filled my whole door frame, like he was huge, he was tall. I was a kid, and it terrified the living daylights out of me. And to this day, I've not forgotten what he looks like or any of that. And I think my mom was kind of hoping I would, because even now, if I bring it up, she's just like, no. And if anyone asks, yes, we do still have the bear. I'm pretty sure my mom has it in her basement. I'm not bringing it to my house. It was actually just a simple white bear with a golden bow and a golden bell on it that I think I had got when I was like born or something like that. I don't remember. Like, it was a collective kind of keepsake that I had, you know, gotten out to play with. So like there was nothing wrong with the bear. Like, it was a gift from family, like nothing. And I grew up in a very Catholic family, so it's like there's nothing wrong with the bear. It was totally the house. The house was haunted. I've got some other stories about that I could share, but that's my creepiest one, was the big green man. It was all I kept calling him. And of course, as a kid, I didn't realize green meant unalive. But yeah, so that was probably like the scariest, most realistic thing that has ever happened to me, at least in that house. To this day, my mom, like, if I'll talk about it, I think she hoped I forgot it, like I said, but I did not. So, Mom, if you see this, I know you're probably tired of hearing me bring it up because you don't want to think about it, but you're not in that house anymore, so
Tell me a ghost story that sounds completely unbelievable but is entirely.
My turn. So anybody that knows me personally knows that I actually grew up in a house that had a lot of paranormal activity. I have a ton of scary stories I can tell that have happened to me throughout my life, but to start off, I'm actually going to be telling y'all a story that happened to my mom. So this story is actually going to take place back in 2003. I had just freshly turned 4 years old, and I had just been transferred over to my own big girl room. I was young still and scared, so it was very common for me to enter my mom's room in the middle of the night and try to get back in bed with her. So one night, probably around 1 or 2 a.m., my mom gets abruptly woken up from her sleep. The room is pitch black, so she can't really see anything yet, but as her eyes are adjusting, she could see a tiny little figure standing next to the bed that's shaped exactly like me, so she's assuming that I had a bad dream and I'm trying to get into bed with her. So of course she's going to try to comfort me. She says my name twice and asks me what's wrong, and no response. I don't say a word. I'm just standing there looking at her in the pitch black. So she starts to reach out for me, of course, to pick me up to put her in the bed, and I start reaching back out for her. So we are like right here, about to touch hands, and as she's about to make contact with me, the door flies open to her bedroom, and the real me comes running in. So of course she's freaked out. She jumps up out of bed to run and go grab me because she doesn't know it was standing there. She hears whatever it was run into the closet that was open at the time. She grabs me, wakes up her husband at the time, my dad, and tells him that there's somebody in the closet. So of course he jumps up to go investigate. He rips the closet door open, and there is nothing there. Nothing there. A lot of paranormal things have happened to my mom, and not once has anything ever tried to reach out and touch her like that. And she believes that God sent the real me into the room at the right time to save her, because who knows what would have happened if she would have made contact with whatever that was. And that is only one of countless scary stories that I have. I also have a lot of my own paranormal experiences that I can share too. So if you guys want to hear more or you want to see proof, let me know.
Tell me a ghost story that sounds completely unbelievable but is entirely true. I'll go first. When I was
Okay, I'll do that. I'm finna tell your ass a whole ass ghost story that happened to me. Now, usually when people start these videos out, they be like, so when I was 9, when I was 10, or 4 years ago, or 5 years ago. But this story happened to me all of 15 fucking minutes ago. I'm dead for real serious about this. Man, I'm recording this video right now at 3:15. But you wanna know what I was doing at 2:15? Bitch, I was involved in a whole ass horror movie. I almost lost my life. Okay, I might be exaggerating on that part because it didn't happen to me. It happened to somebody that I was on FaceTime with. But since it happened while I was on FaceTime with them, it didn't happen to them. It happened to us. Now, we in this together. We survived this horror movie together. Anywho, so to the story. Me and this person, we is on FaceTime. We sitting here talking. We talking about content creation. So we talking about content that we maybe would like to do in the future. And they tell me they want to do like a ghost hunter YouTube channel. We is literally sitting there talking about ghosts and telling ghost stories. And talking about how they want to go hunt ghosts. And you know my ass is stereotypically black. So we out here talking about hunting ghosts. Hey, motherfucker, we can't hunt deers instead? Why we gotta hunt the undead? I mean, I got all kind of uncles and shit that hunt squirrels and rabbits and other kind of woodland creatures. But you want to go out here and hunt Casper the Friendly Ghost at this bitch. But anyway, I digress. That's what we sitting there talking about. And then all of a sudden, in the middle of this conversation about ghosts, I hear a loud ass noise in the background of this FaceTime conversation I have on their end. Ain't nothing going on my end. This is happening on their end. And after I hear this loud ass noise, like you ever be on FaceTime with somebody and something happen and you see their whole soul just take a break for a minute? I heard this loud noise, seen them jack their head over to the side, and when they turned back to the camera, all the blood was out their body. They was as pale as a Caucasian in the wintertime. They was as pale as an ashy glass of milk. I'm like, the fuck wrong with you? And like, you ain't see that? I'm like, no. What the fuck was I supposed to see? It was like, so I'm sitting over here by the laundry room, and ain't nobody in the laundry room. The door was closed tight, and for some reason, this bitch just swung all the way open. I'm like, I'm sorry? What you mean it swung all the way open? You need to go get that shit fixed? Check your hinges. They was like, no, I don't know what's going on, but this door just swung open. Ain't nobody in there. Then they turned the camera so I can see what's going on with the door. And sure enough, the door is wide the fuck open. Yeah, I like to partake in time and time in white people shit, but only on TV. So I don't watch these ghost hunting shows and all this shit. So I know they say, like, when you see some type of ghost energy on camera, it's an orb. Like, I know it's like a glowing orb that floats in front of the camera and shit, like a bouncing ball or some shit. And sure enough, when they swing that damn camera around, guess what the first thing I fucking seen? A fucking glow-in-the-dark tennis ball floating in the sky across the damn laundry room they talking about. Now, I'm a skeptic. I ain't gonna believe some shit just because I heard it on TV or seen it on the internet. Like, you got to prove to me. Like, if I'm in a room and you want me to believe a ghost is in the room, I'm gonna need that ghost to give me high five before I believe it's real. Like, if I was on one of them ghost hunting shows, I wouldn't be walking around talking about whispering and shit. I'd walk in the room and be like, boom, what a ghost at? Show yourself, Casper. So I'm instantly trying to scientifically justify this glowing orb I just seen float by in the back of my head. Like, nah, it's just a tennis ball with some glow-in-the-dark light on it. That's all it was. Now, the person I'm talking to is a firm believer, so they ain't even trying to question what happened. They know what the fuck happened. They like, bitch, we is being visited right now. What the fuck you mean we? We ain't doing shit. I'm on the phone. That's what I'm doing. So then they go in they old Whoopi Goldberg from Ghost type shit and start trying to communicate with the dead with this damn thing and shit. They got the phone turned around so I can see what's going on with this door. While they sitting there trying to communicate with this damn thing. They sitting there saying shit like, I know you there. I can feel your energy. I can feel you staring at me. I can see your face in the doorknob. You cannot see a fucking face in the doorknob. I refuse to believe it. They like, no, it's a fucking face in that doorknob. Trust me. And I'm sitting there like, man, this motherfucker might be a little crazy. So they done turned the camera around so I can see what the hell is going on with this door while they sitting there trying to talk to the dead and shit. And they fuck around and tell the whatever the fuck is right there that I'm still not 100% sure is right there. They say some shit like, if you still there, close the door. Because the door is wide open. Now, the door started off as closed. And they said that they didn't open the door and ain't nobody else opened the door. So whatever is right there had to open the door. So they say, if you still right there, close the door. Now I'm sitting there thinking, man, this damn thing ain't finna close no door. What are you talking about? You giving it rules and orders now? They ain't finna close that damn door. Y'all. Bruh. The fucking door started to close. And I'm sitting there like, motherfucker say what? Again, I'm a skeptic. Like, I'm like, nah, you playing a trick on me. I don't know what you trying to do. I don't know who all you got in this house to set me up and make me believe this shit happened. I'm like, I know you got a string wrapped around your damn big toe right now, closing and shutting this damn door. Since they ass can see ghosts, I guess they are fucking psychic too, because they was like, ain't no strings, the wind ain't blowing, ain't nothing happening. This door is moving on its own. As I'm sitting there thinking this shit. They started waving their hand in front of the camera like, see, ain't no string, ain't nothing going on. The door is doing that on its own, which I can perfectly see the door. So unless they got an invisible string, I damn sure know they do not have a string on this door. I'm sitting right there watching the fucking door close halfway. And I'm thinking, that don't even count because you said close the door. They ain't closed the door. They just kind of push it up a little bit. That don't count. They ain't no real ghost. A real ghost would have did what you said. So then the ghost said, oh, you think I can't close the door all the way? So they open the door all the way. They open it back up. I'm like, that ain't what I said to do. And the ghost said, I'm not done yet. Then they closed the fucking door. Now I'm sitting here staring at the damn phone and the door and the camera, talking about some. Why the fuck this fucking door just closed all the way? I'm like, you know what? This door closed. That got to be the end of it. Not the end of it. Why you say? Because the door opened the fuck back up. And it didn't just open back up randomly. It opened back up because they told him, you got yourself stuck in the closet, now free yourself. And the fucking door opened back up. All right, they free. Why is you still sitting there? Free yourself. So now they sitting there having a full fucking conversation with Casper the friendly fucking ghost. My ass is on the other side of the screen like, can ghosts travel through Wi-Fi? You need to let me know that now, because if they can, I'm finna cut this damn phone off right now. So they talking to the ghost, I'm talking to them. I'm like, why you ain't got your ass up and left the house yet? I'm like, you acting real Caucasian right now. This is why we die first in horror movies. They talking about I got some laundry in the laundry room. I need to go get that shit right now. I ain't fuck that damn laundry. Hell, you can buy some old socks and drawers from Walmart. I'm like, motherfucker, if you ain't got $1 million in that damn laundry room, then fuck whatever the hell you got in that damn room. Don't you take your ass in that room trying to save some damn Fruit of the Loom and Hanes? Hell, because if it is a damn poltergeist in that damn room, you don't want to take your ass in there because I can't jump through the phone and save your ass. And even if I could, I wouldn't. If you take your ass in that room, you is on your fucking own. Because I can't even call nobody for you. Because what the fuck I look like calling 911 and letting them know that somebody in another city is in the laundry room getting mollywopped by a Scooby-Doo villain. I'm like, so they in the laundry room catching a whole ass fade from a leftover Halloween specter? Bitch, Halloween was 2 or 3 weeks ago. What the fuck you waiting on now to say boo? Bitch, I was prepared to be scared last month. I want some turkey now. And you coming now at the beginning of November? This had to be a black ghost because they late. Now, I already know what some of y'all is in the comment section saying, well, Richard, if you didn't get it on tape, it didn't happen. Who didn't get it on tape?
But, you know, as I say, with the wind and everything, it's a sturdy door. Yeah. It's a sturdy door. And it's not even blowing that much. So, you've closed yourself all the way in. Alright, so the wind is blowing that way, so you should be able to open. It's a sturdy door. I ain't going near that door. I'm sorry. I ain't touching it because I know and I can see something in there. I can see you in there. Yeah, I wish you called earlier and everything. I nearly jumped out the chair when the other door opened. Okay, here it goes, 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 all the way. Closing doors, go set yourself free. Look, 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 look. You see this and there's no wind.
Now, I'm going to post clips and videos of everything that happened. And I'm going to post a whole 20-minute video, but I'm going to post this somewhere else. Like, if there was a tube just for you, then that's what that whole video would be. So if you want to see that whole video, you can check it out. But for now, that's the end of my story. Y'all be good and I will talk to y'all next time. I'm finna take my ass on Amazon and buy 16 cases of holy water out this bitch, because apparently I need it.
Tell me a ghost story that sounds completely unbelievable but is entirely...
I saw my grandma naked. I'm just playing. Well, actually, I'm not playing. We'll save that story for a different one. But we were living in Texas. It was my son's mom. My son was there. He just wasn't born yet. He was in the stomach. And then my oldest. We were chilling in the living room at the house that we lived in. And out of nowhere, just behind my son's mom, we heard my grandma's voice calling my name. I guess it was to say goodbye, I think. But anyways, she said my name clear as day, and it freaked us out. We didn't know where it was coming from. I was like, did you hear that? She's like, yeah, I heard that. I was like, it sounded like my grandma. Yeah, it did. And this was only like a few hours after she passed away, which is crazy. But I guess she wanted to say bye. It wasn't really scary, but it was scary for me because I don't do dead stuff.
Tell me a ghost story that sounds completely unbelievable but is entirely true. I'll go first.
I've been trying to say this story now since, I want to say, since springtime. I've been trying to make this video. And my phone craps out, my iPad craps out. Something happens where TikTok just absolutely malfunctions whenever I record this story. And what's so funny is I've been recording making other posts, and it did not fail. It posted perfectly fine. So whatever. I'm just gonna try again. So I want to say this happened around March 2011. I was young at the time. Now I'm a lot older, but I was young at the time. And it was 2011, March. I will never forget it. It was still really cold. I live in New York, so it's still cold. And I remember it was either the second week or the first week of March. But anyways, I'm at this point in my life, I actually stopped smoking weed like way before, so I know I don't have any mental problems. I don't have any drug problems. I didn't drink, you know, I wasn't really drinking at this time. So when this happened to me, it was so weird because I'm an atheist at this point in my life. So I don't believe in anything spiritual. I don't believe in any religion. If anything, I used to make fun of people who were like, oh my God, I saw a ghost. And, you know, I used to actually make fun of people because I just felt like it was people who wanted attention. Like, I used to be very judgmental about it. So I want to say this is around, I went to sleep like around 10, 11 p.m. I remember that the next day I had to be at work at 5 in the morning. I was working at a bagel store at the time, so I had to open. I was actually covering for somebody else because they got hurt or they were sick. I can't really remember that part clearly, but anyways, I'm sleeping, and where I am living at the time, there was like a little mice problem at the time. So I just remember that there was like a little bit of a mice problem. So I remember hearing a little noise at 1 in the morning, and I was like, oh, what the hell is that? You know, I think it's the little homies, right? Like the little mice are whatever, fucking up the walls, inside the walls, like whatever, right? So I remember that the landlord were like, oh, we're trying to take care of the problem, you know, we're gonna handle it, we're handling it. And they eventually did handle it, but anyways, I know that I had gone to the store and my fat ass, because at this time I was overweight, so my fat ass had bought like hair accessories from like the beauty supply store, and I had gotten a Snickers bar, and that Snickers bar was in the bag, and I'm like, oh my God, the mice are gonna eat my Snickers bar. Like, this is the little noise that I'm hearing, right? So I turn on the light, I throw my shoe at the bag, and you know, no mice, no nothing, right? I hear the little noise again, like something is touching the plastic bag. Now, I know that we don't really use a lot of plastic bag anymore, but those really like nylon type of plastic bags, whenever like the wind is hitting against it, it makes like that weird rustling sound. So I'm hearing that little sound again. Something is touching the bag, and I'm like, what the fuck? What is that noise? So I get up again, nothing, right? I was like, what the hell? I go back, you know, turn off the lights again, go back to sleep. This time I hear the noise again. So I sit up in my room. Now my room is like pitch black, but I did have like this really obnoxiously large digital clock, and that light is it's very bright. And I remember there is a little green light, and it's not like a green light, I meant to say a gray light. It's like a little gray ball, and it's starting at the bottom corner of the room, the bottom left corner of the room where the bag is from the beauty supply store, and it starts traveling diagonally to the upper right corner of my room. And I'm like, what the fuck? It's like a fuzzy gray ball of light. That's really what I can describe it like. And it was just like floating very weak like, and whatever, and it disappeared into that corner of the room. So I was like, that was weird. The next second, what I see, I have never told this story since 2011. I told my coworkers at that time, and my two coworkers, like one is super Christian and the other one is super Catholic, so they were like freaking out when I told them this story. They believed me, but I honestly thought I I thought I was crazy because what happened next to me, I can't believe that it actually happened to me, but I'm still suffering from the physical injuries. So right after I see the gray, I'm sorry, I'm laughing because of how crazy it was. The gray ball of light disappears into the upper right corner of the room. I see what looks like a massive hand, like a big fucking man hand, crawling up my satin sheets. I had white satin sheets just crawling up. And I'm like, what the hell is happening? I remember I'm just cramming my body into the wall because I'm like, oh my God, this thing's gonna get me. And it did. It grabbed my leg. It dragged me all the way down, like down my bed, all the way to the, to the edge of the bed. It flung me up into the ceiling, and then it slammed me down into the ground. My back was out. I just remember that I could not move. After that, I couldn't move. But after like a few minutes, I could feel my body moving, and I get up and I'm running out the room. I run to the living room, and because I can't believe what has just happened. I'm just like, what the fuck, what the fuck, what the fuck, I must have said what the fuck like 10 million times. I don't even know how many times. I'm by myself also in this apartment, so I'm freaking out. There's the TV where the TV is standing on. Behind the TV, I could feel like there's something very big and tall staring at me. I still cannot see what it is. I still cannot see if it's what it was. Like, I just see something very big, tall, and dark. And I can feel the absolute hatred that it has towards me. And I remember I'm just freaking out. I don't know what to do. I can honestly say that I was kind of paralyzed by fear. I'm sitting on the sofa, and I literally just start, I lay down on the sofa, but I like turn into the sofa. My face is towards it, like into the sofa. And I'm just like, what the fuck, what the fuck, what the fuck? And the next thing you know, I remember that everything got really quiet. That was the weirdest part. I could no longer hear my heart beating because my heart was pounding. I mean, I could feel my body buzzing, but like I couldn't hear nothing. I heard nothing, no noise, no nothing. There's just absolute silence. It's the weirdest thing. I mean, I'm talking about no noise whatsoever. No small noise, no tiny noise, no nothing. And I'm looking around because I'm like, this feels weird. Like, I felt like I almost went deaf. What I'm assuming feels like to go deaf. And I start getting beat up. I mean, I'm talking about, I'm getting punched in the back of my head. I'm getting punched in my back. My butt is getting punched. The back of my thighs are getting punched. My calves are getting punched. Even my heel, like the heel of my foot is getting punched up. I've been jumped before because I used to hang around with a really ratchet ass crowd when I was really young. So, I mean, I've jumped people and people have jumped me. So I'm like, what? I'm getting jumped right now, and there's nothing around me. Like, I'm getting jumped and there's nothing. There's nothing around me. I see nothing. But I feel like I just got like punched by 20 hands, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? I run out the house, right? I run out the apartment. I run downstairs. And the house next to me, there's tenants in that house too. And this one guy, he happened to come back from like the bar. He's smoking a cigarette, and he sees that I'm freaking out, and he's like, what the hell is happening?
Tell me a ghost story that sounds completely unbelievable but is entirely...
Welcome back, friends. After very many requests, it is finally time to do another scary story time. The story I'm going to be telling you guys about today is actually an encounter that I had that I believe was with a mimic. And before we get started, for those who didn't watch my last video, hi, my name is Maddie. I actually grew up in a very, very haunted house, had a lot of paranormal activity, and I thought it would be cool to add that I'm currently in the process of having a house built. So in the meantime, I am staying in the house that all of these things happened in. So the house that you see behind me is where this story happened. So to set the scene, there was one night when my family decided at the last minute that they were going to go out to eat for dinner. I currently was not feeling good, so I decided to stay home instead, which would later turn out to be a mistake for me. So about 30 minutes after they left, I'm sitting here in this exact chair. It's already dark outside. I'm sitting here watching a scary movie, which was already a bad idea because I was already a scared kid as it was. But my mom's room, for preface, is right over there. Ignore the tornado my 1-year-old has made on the floor, I apologize. But I was sitting here watching my scary movie when all of a sudden I heard somebody say my name. It sounded exactly like my mom's voice. So at first I was thinking, well, I'm just tripping, you know? So I kind of just talked myself down, told myself I was just imagining things. I already didn't feel good, so I was probably just tired. So I continued to watch my movie. And not even 2 minutes later, coming from where my mom's room is at, I hear her voice go, "Madison." So of course the first thing I do is I text my mom because nobody else is home, it's just me, so I'm really freaked out. I text her, I'm like, "Hey, I can hear you saying my name. Are you sure you took the boys or did Dad come and pick them up and take them?" And she just responds back and she's like, "What are you talking about? You literally saw me walk out the door and leave with them." So at this point I'm panicking. So what does my pea brain think to do in the moment? Walk out the door? No. I decided to get out my phone and try to record it so I could show my mom what was going on. So like I said, I'm sitting here in the living room in this chair. All the lights are out because I'm watching a movie, except for the light in my mom's room because I'll be honest, we were all terrified as my mom's room because that's where the most activity happens. So I'm going to try to explain this the best that I can without you physically seeing it, but I am going to add the video to the end of this video so you guys can actually see it in action because I promised some proof. So I pause the TV and I start recording my mom's door. Of course the light's on in there, so if something were moving around you'd be able to see the shadow because it's dark in here. As I'm recording, you see a figure almost look like it's on its hands and knees crawl out of the room. You see the shadow go by, but you can see nothing physically there to make the shadow. So I was like, what the? So I keep recording, and the second time this shadow figure passes by, you can clearly see that it's that outline of someone on their hands and knees crawling back into that room. But like I said, there's nothing there to physically make the shadow. So after processing what I just saw, I finally came to my senses. I got my little booty up and I hightailed it out of this house. I called my mom. I said, "There is something in the house. I am not staying here." And I walked my little happy booty all the way down to my Mimi's house. I was not about to stay here. So unfortunately, with a stitch on TikTok, it will not let you upload an already recorded video to your video. So I emailed myself the video and I'm going to show you it off of my daughter's iPad. But let's remember, guys, this happened years and years ago. I was still probably, you know, around 16 years old. So the quality's not going to be good from this phone recording, okay? I'm 25 now, about to be 26. So this is an old recording. Alright, guys, so here we go. So right there, you see the shadow come out of the room. Remember, nobody else is home. There's nothing physically there that can make that shadow. Boom. You see something squatted down on the ground trying to go back into the room. I'm sorry, but no thank you. I did recently link my email into my bio, so if you guys have any of your own personal scary stories that you would like me to share, or if you want to hang around and hear some more of mine, that's fun too. I will see y'all later.
Me a ghost story that sounds completely unbelievable but is entirely true.
Let me share the tale of the haunted hospital. Back in 2011, my husband and I moved from California back to his hometown, Pittsburgh, Texas. Now, Pittsburgh, Texas is a very small town, 5,000 people max, especially at that time. And September rolls around, someone somewhere got the bright idea, let's turn the old abandoned hospital into a haunted house. Well, we show up on the first day, and they gave me a quick tour of this hospital, first level and second level, and let me tell you, I only went to the second level one time. This hospital very much gave House on Haunted Hill in like downtown Pittsburgh vibes. It was just creepy. And naturally, we ended up in charge of the clown hall. So, my husband and his 2 older brothers, we head that way and we're working throughout the day. Now, typically in these types of situations, they always say never split up. Well, we split up. I thought, I'm a big enough girl, I can handle this situation. I can go ahead and continue putting up decorations while they go get some large equipment from outside to bring inside to continue building what they needed to build. Well, my spunky little bottom climbs up onto a stepladder and I keep hanging streamers like I'm not in a haunted hospital. Now, as I'm standing there hanging these streamers, I feel my husband take his hand like he so often did and twine it into my hair and just kind of feel the back of my hair. And I lean into it thinking, oh, like how sweet. And I turn around to give him a kiss and there is nothing in the hallway. Now I stand there for a moment thinking, okay, we've absolutely lost our mind. Let's just keep, I just got a heart palpitation. I'm literally wearing a heart monitor right now. Anyways, so I continue standing in the hallway on the stepladder, thinking that I've lost my mind and I was imagining things, and I continue going back to hanging the streamers. Lo and behold, a moment goes by and I feel the hand again running through my hair. This time, however, it gets a little bit rough and yanks my head back. At that moment, I turn around, nothing is still there. I step off the ladder and I head down the hall towards the nearest exit, and I go stand outside in the middle of the parking lot. Now, at that point, I didn't have my cell phone on me. I didn't know where anyone was at, so I'm just standing in the middle of the parking lot waiting for someone to come find me. About 15 minutes goes by and my husband and his brothers finally come out, and I refuse to go back in the hospital. I am at that point done. And I asked to be taken home. I did not need a third rendezvous with whatever was in that hallway. Now, later that evening, my husband explained that particular hallway we were working in used to be the hallway full of the doctor's offices for that hospital. Apparently, there was a doctor there that was notorious for harassing the nurses. Well, apparently he had passed on and decided to come back and hang around, so yeah. Now, that was my last interaction with that hospital because I'm not a glutton for punishment. I've had enough paranormal, interactions that I wasn't no. Well, my husband and his brothers, they went back after Halloween with paranormal researchers, and let me tell you, my husband did not particularly believe in any of this, but he fucked around and found out the hard way. But that is their story to tell. So, and that's my tale of the haunted hospital. And sadly, it is not my first or last encounter with the paranormal, so let me know if you want to hear about their stories.
Me a ghost story that sounds completely unbelievable but is entirely true.
Okay, so when I was growing up, my dad was in the military, and when I was between the ages of 3 and 7, we lived in Japan, in Misawa Air Force Base, which is way up north in Japan. It's not like in this part, it's up in the the top part of the island, right? And so we lived in 3 different houses while we lived in Japan, which is pretty common when you live an extended period of time on a military base. And so the second house that we lived in was in what was called old housing, and it was my parents, me, my older sister, and my older brother. My sister is only 15 months older than me, and our brother is more than 10 years older than us. So I had never told anybody this. And so here's what would happen. So when I would go to walk down the stairs, anytime, so it was a 2-story house, anytime I would go to walk down the stairs, and I was by myself, it would feel like someone picked me up and would carry me down the stairs. And this happened every single time. And if somebody were to walk past the stairs and look up, I would get dropped and bounce all the way down the stairs on my butt. And this happened the whole, I think, 1.5 years that we lived in that house. The crazy part is, like I said, I've never told anybody this, but when my sister and I were hanging out with our dad as adults, I think we were like 19 and 20, I told that story, and, my sister, her mouth was just hanging open. And I was like, I know, it's crazy, right? She said, no, the same thing would happen to me. And I never told anybody about it either. And it was just wild. We never saw anything, nothing else ever happened, but we would just be carried down the stairs by someone, something. Friggin', it was wild.
Tell me a ghost story that sounds completely unbelievable but is entirely true.
So growing up, I would live in a 100-year-old home. Couldn't sleep alone or in the dark until I was 10 years old. And even then, like, it was hard. And I would never want to go in the basement or the attic. So my room was connected to the living room by a wall, meaning there was nothing in between, and the dining room on the other side of that wall. And usually because my dad's watching movies in the living room, we use the wall as a communication system in case one of us needed something. Because, like, you can't really hear me if I'm trying to shout across the house, but I can hear the wall knock. So I would knock if I needed water or something. I was too lazy to get up. He would knock if he wanted to talk to me and didn't want to, like, just shout my name. This was years. Like, we did this for so long. I'm 15, right? The area where he would knock from usually is the left side of the room because that's where the couch is at. And at this point in my life, I had a loft bed. So I would be sleeping in the upper right portion of the room. One night, I was so thirsty. It was midnight. I knew it was midnight, too, because I checked my phone, like, right before. And I'll never forget this. I knocked on the wall and didn't get any response. I was like, okay, like, the movie he's watching is probably loud or he's wearing headphones. So I knock again, and immediately, not even a second after, 3 loud slams against my head, like, by the wall. I was so terrified. I just, like, immediately, like, closed my eyes and, like, went to bed. I was like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to disturb you. Next morning, I asked my mom. I was like, yo, what time did Dad go to bed? I needed something, and he didn't really respond. And she was like, oh, he wasn't feeling well. He went to bed around 10. So, yeah, that's one of the scariest stories I have. I've heard a lot of things, but I can't really see any ghosts. My best friend, though, can, and I have a few stories about that.
Tell me a ghost story that sounds completely unbelievable but is entirely true. I'll go first.
I have been waiting to share my ghost stories. So if you know me personally, you know that I grew up in a very haunted house, actually on a haunted farm. Just a little backstory. We built our house. We built the farm. There was nothing on the land except a barn from the 40s. My grandfather had acquired the property in the 80s. They built their section of the property, which was a 5,000 square foot house. They already had the barn. They put fencing in. Then we had our side, which was about 4 acres. We built my parents' house, whatever, it's where I grew up. Now, growing up, everybody in my family would talk about these ghost stories on the farm. And at some point, I started having my own experiences. So I think the very first time that I ever experienced anything, I was probably about 5 years old. It was a weird night. My mom had gone out to some kind of PTA meeting, and this was in 2002 or 2003. So cell phones weren't a big thing. There were no smartphones, just landlines. My second oldest brother was babysitting me, and it was just a regular night until my mom was like MIA. She ended up coming home later that night, like really late, and she didn't call because, again, at the time, there were no cell phones. It was just landline and a payphone, and where she was, there was no phone. So as the night was getting later and later and later, me and my brother started kind of freaking out, like, yo, where's mom? And I remember my brother had gone into the bathroom, and I was already a nervous wreck. I had really bad anxiety as a kid. He's in the bathroom doing whatever he's doing, and I'm just kind of waiting outside the door for him to come out. And I hear somebody whispering my name. Not just my legal name, my nickname. Mind you, my brother didn't call me by my nickname. He called me by my first name. And the whispering, it just got louder and louder and louder. And I started crying. And when my brother came outside the bathroom, I said to him, why are you whispering my name? It's freaking me out. And he said to me, he goes, I don't know what you were talking about. And that's when I realized my house was actually haunted. Now, if you made it this far in the story, I'll give you even more background on the house. Where we live in New Jersey, specifically the town we're in, there has been reports of Indian burial grounds. My family used to find artifacts on the property, arrowheads, fossils, all kinds of stuff. The kind of stories that we have from the farm are out of a horror movie. Conjuring type shit. Now, that story I just told you wasn't even that bad. I have many others. Let me know if you want to hear more about our conjuring house in Middlesex County, New Jersey.
Tell me a ghost story that sounds completely unbelievable but is entirely.
I have one. When I was 16, 17 years old, my bedroom was the attic of my parents' house. One night, I proceed to have one of the most real feeling dreams I've ever had. In the dream, I'm sleeping in my bed. I wake up in the dream to an older woman standing in the corner of my bedroom. I do not know this woman, never seen this woman. She actually looked quite ghost-like, a little translucent. You could see through her a bit. Like she looked like a ghost. She proceeds to ask me, I have a son. He needs someone to play with. Would you mind playing with him? Not sure why I chose to say yes, but I did. And I was like, yeah, I'll totally play with your son. That seems totally normal. Like, we're in a dream, so, like, fine, I'll play with your son. As soon as I say, yeah, I'll play with your son, he appears, like, if I'm laying in my bed, like, she's on this side, he appears on this side of the room, like, right where the stairs are, the top of the steps. And he starts to walk over to my bed, comes to my bed, and he's like, let's play arm wrestling. So I'm like, yeah, no problem. Let's play arm wrestling. So I put my hand up like this. He puts his hand in my hand, and we are arm wrestling. At first, it's like a good give and go. We're like, oh, yeah. And then, like, he pins my hand completely down. I feel his hand, hold on. I feel his hand around my hand, ice cold. He pins my hand down and is staring at me. And I'm like, okay, like, let's play again. And he goes, I don't think you want to play this game with me. Just like that, like, dead stare. I don't think you want to play this game with me. So I'm like, what does that mean? Let's play, like, okay, let's play the game. So he goes, no problem. Digs his nails into my hand like that and starts pinning my hand to the bed, yelling, I win, 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 I win. I rip my hand away from his. I feel the scratch marks on my, like, right here. And then he takes a step back with this, like, grin on his face. And he becomes this, like, black cloud of smoke. And I know that sounds unreal, but just stay with me. So he's this big cloud of smoke. This is all still in the dream. I get up, I'm screaming, I jump out of my bed. Here's where it gets crazy. I jump out of my bed in the dream and I wake up in real life and I am fully standing on my feet. So as I'm standing on my feet, I'm like, what the fuck just happened? I'm down the stairs, out the room, right? And so my mom and my sister are downstairs in the kitchen cooking breakfast. My mom is a very spiritual person, so I have no problem just being like, yo, this is what just happened. And it's like, disregard the dream if you want, but I was fully standing when I woke up. Insane. And so typically, not saying typically like this happens all the time to me, but like my mom we regularly would have priests come over, bless the house, things like that. So like that's not weird. So like my mom throwing holy water around the house is not like an odd thing in my household. So like I'm expecting her to be like, okay, let me go get the holy water. I'll spray your room down. Like, not a big deal. She goes, the holy water is right there. You're going to go get it and go upstairs and throw it around your room with some salt. I'm like, why are you not doing it? She's like, I think you should do it. And I'm like, okay, this is insane. So I take the salt, I take the holy water, I go upstairs. My sister's like, I'll come with you, but I'm staying at the bottom of the stairs. Everybody's acting scared. And so I'm like, okay, I'm not crazy. This is something. So I have the holy water, I have the salt, I go upstairs. I have the holy water in like a little cup and I have the salt. I go upstairs And so I'm like throwing the holy water around, just a little frap around. And I have the salt and I throw it onto my bed and it sizzles. Bitch. I was going. I never ran down a flight of stairs faster in my life. I don't even think I touched one step. I jumped from the top 11 steps down, bow, hit it. I was downstairs the next flight, bow, hit it. I didn't stop for shit. I said the only way I'm going back up there is if y'all bring a priest to hose this house down with a fire truck of holy water. I'm not playing at all with y'all. And so my mama got the priest to come, and he blessed the whole house, top to bottom. He didn't miss no floor, no nook, no cranny. And I never had an experience like that again. So I don't know where that little boy is at, but I hope his soul is at rest because he